Hello, my name is Ash. Welcome back to my TCG channel. Today we will be looking at Dynasty TCG's rulebook, which is on the website and in the Discord. Join it. It's under the How to Play section. You click this link right here, and it downloads. So I'm going to open it once it's downloaded. Okay, so this is what the rulebook should look like, except in white. I've got mine on black version because I like it black. But this is what it should look like. We'll just be going over the rules. The game is evolving, so do please give it time. The rulebook might update occasionally, and this will be very outdated soon. That's my speculation. Probably skip this bit because we just know we only need to know it's a TCG game. What is the aim of the game? So commander health is 50, and you have to decrease it to 0. There's some special win conditions. If you both reach 0 at the same time, it's a draw. Is that possible? I don't know if that's possible. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. If your opponent cannot draw any more cards from the deck because there's no remaining cards, they lose the game. That's a really weird win condition. If both players have no cards, the lowest health wins the campaign or the game. You need a deck consisting of 50 to 60 cards. You're better off getting 60 in for this win condition here. Optional side decks has to be 0 to 15. So technically it should be 1 to 15 because it's optional. You can swap with your main deck in between different games. Oh, okay. Or you can swap cards. Okay, that's fine. Dice or pen? How would you do dice or pen? Dice is one with numbers, pen's on your right hand down with. Oh, no, right. Okay. So I don't read it. Dice and pen and paper to track the health and strength of units and player health. So it just helps you write stuff down instead of putting dice on it. That's cool. How to begin. Both you and your opponent shuffle your decks, place them face down in their respective deck zone. That'll be on the placemat. I'll have somewhere, it'll say it somewhere. I'll show you it soon. You find a method of how to choose player 1 and player 2. You both draw 6 cards, drawing which one player will gain 10 resources. Player 1 will gain 10 resources. You then run through the phases until a winner is crowned. Okay. Phases. So each round is broken into phases. Income phase, the active player's resource is total is set to 10. They have the standby phase, which is when you wait for your next go. Draw phase, the active player draws a card every turn. Retreat phase, the active player may play a number of non-attached cards and retreat zone 1 without paying their cost. Then each unit in retreat zone 1 is moved to the hand, and each unit in the retreat zone 2 is moved to retreat zone 1. Skirmish phase, end phase. Restoration phase, each reinforcing unit is moved back to the reserved positions and is moved into the attack position. And the active player discards each card. The active player discards cards until they have 7 or less in the hand. Oh, like Uno. You have to have 7 or less. No, yeah, Uno, you start with 7. My bad. Example of how a game begins. We can just skip that because I really don't want to read it. It's a lot of words. This is what the placemat should look like for you. Right here. Woo. The battlefield. This is where your units and structure cards are deployed. Only one unit card can be placed into a unit zone, so one per square triangle. No, not triangle, rectangle. Jeez. The environment zone, where you can play one environment card, which currently there isn't any. We're waiting on that. The discard pile, cards that you just throw away. The deck zone, where you place your deck, obviously. The retreat zone, where you send units before they can return to the hand. Trade center, which is where you put you can sell one of your cards, but to get it back, you have to buy it back for the same amount of resources. We've been over this, have we? Yeah. We have. Unit cards, champions. I think we've done some of these. Yeah, we've done plenty of these. I'll give bannerman buffs to both sides of the opponent's field. That's what the environment cards do, which is kind of why thingy. Oh Lord, I can't. Priority and stack system determines who is allowed to take the actions and when. Players can take actions when they have priority. Each phase, active player gains priority. When players don't take an action, they can pass the priority to their opponent. However, when an action is taken, it's put onto the stack. The stack is a first set in, last out data structure. Essentially, the action that was most recently taken will be the first one to resolve. When action resolves, it leaves the stack. Think of a physical stack of cards. You can only access the top of the stack. When you put the card back in the stack, or when you take a card off, you're only ever touching the card on the top. When a card is played, it's put onto the stack, and when a card resolves, it's taken off the stack. The same is true active and triggered cards ability. Whenever priority is passed to the player who controls the top action of the stack, the action resolves. Whenever it's passed to the player while the stack is empty, the turn goes to the next phase. Okay, so it's just a priority queue. That's all I'm hearing here. However, the most recent one is the one that actually happens. Action can be taken by a player whenever they have the priority. If a player has priority during the skirmish phase, while the stack is empty, that player can have a unit they control attack. Whenever a player has priority during their skirmish phase, while the stack is empty, that player can have a unit they control reposition, so they can attack or reposition. Whenever a player has priority, that player can have a unit they control retreat. Players may only take this action once during their turn and as many times as they like during their turn. So they can only do it once during their opponent's turn. Sorry. As an additional cost to this action, the actioning player must pay resources equal to the resource cost of the unit being retreated. Okay. Whenever a player has priority, that player can have a unit they control reinforce the unit it's supporting so long as the supported unit is the target for an attack. Whenever a player has priority, that player can activate a card's ability if they control that card, so long as they're in the skirmish phase and the stack is empty. Whenever a player has priority, that player can play a card from their hand if it's their skirmish phase and the stack is empty or that card is an order. Special actions. Special actions can be taken by a player whenever they have priority, they don't use the stack, and resolve immediately. During the skirmish phase, while the stack is empty, the player can sell a card from their hand. Players can only take this special action up once per turn, so you can only sell a card once per turn. Whenever a player has priority during their skirmish phase, while the stack is empty, that player can buy a card, so they can just also buy or sell a card. They can pass priority to someone else as well. So technically you don't have to give up your turn, but you'll probably just be sat there doing nothing. Oh, this is going to be a big one, isn't it? It's very thorough. It's a very thorough book, isn't it? Attacks are either direct or indirect. Units can't attack unless they're in an attack position, and they can't attack in a lane where an attack has been declared that turn. Ah, okay. That's cool. Units can only attack once per turn, unless it's Shen leveled up. That's his ability. He can attack twice. Direct attacks can be declared to the opposing lane if the opposing lane of that unit is empty. Okay. So you can only attack someone directly if the lane is empty. Indirect attacks target one unit or structure. The set of possible targets for an indirect action is defined as follows. Each unit and / or structure controlled by an opponent in this lane who is in the range of the target is a legal target. Each unit or structure controlled by the opponent in this lane, where there isn't another unit in between this unit and that unit or structure is a legal target. Some rules or effects will allow for a unit to target a set of units or structures for an attack. Those units or structures are a legal target. All other objects are not legal targets. So you can't just attack the table. Stop attacking tables. I know what you do in your free time. An indirect attack can't be declared if there's no legal targets to attack. Defending unit, and the unit being attacked, and that unit is defending for the duration of that attack remaining on the stack. The defending unit defends and is attacked when the attack action is put onto the stack. The same applies for structures. I'm not really sure what that means. Personally, I didn't fully read it because I do need to get through this quite fast. Indirect or direct attack is declared. The actioning player can choose any number of units which are consecutively supporting the attack. Each unit chosen this way and the attacking unit are all put into an attack unity. Each unit put into this attack is considered to have attack. Units can't be put into an attack until they can't. Units can't be put into attack if they couldn't attack. Okay. They're all considered to be attacking as long as they're in an attack unity. As this action leaves the stack, they all leave the attack unity. Units can't be in multiple attack unities. When a unit I think I know what this means. Basically, you can have together attack for all the troops in that lane, and you can just combine all the strength into one attack, and you can attack for quite a bit. The leading unit, if I remember correctly, the leading unit is the one with the range, and is the one that gets attacked back. Yeah, I've basically just explained that. There's a good reason I haven't read this, is because there's so many words, and I'm not going to understand most of this, which is a real shame. So I feel like I've explained everything there. If there's something that I need to explain better or haven't explained yet, leave in the comments. units. I'll make a video on it. Repositioning units. Okay, so they can reposition once. When a unit's repositions either into an adjacent battle position from A1 to B2, or the battle position of that unit changes from attack to defense. I don't know they had defense and attacks, but I don't know if that makes a difference really. Maybe it does. Maybe I need to play a game in real life, watch Hinchy play as well. The previous position of that unit is reserved by the reinforcing unit until it goes back into that position. Other units and or structures can't be put into that battlefield position. Units can't reinforce a unit that's already reinforcing, or that's reinforced, or that's not in attack position. Reinforced and reinforcing units can't move, change battle positions, reposition, retreat, or reinforce. If a reinforced or reinforcing unit changes battle position, or leaves the battlefield, or changes unit position, the reinforcing unit stops reinforcing. So basically, you can move once per card. The reinforcing stops as soon as you move. That's what I'm getting. Retreating. Some rules and effects may cause a unit to retreat. When a unit retreats, it's sent to the retreat zone. If that unit target was the target of an attack, and the attacking player may redeclare that attack. If they don't, then attack is neglected. You can have more than one unit in the retreat zone at a time. That's pretty cool. I mean, it just technically can stop your cards getting killed, going, ooh, pretty cool. Reinforcing. Units can reinforce the units they're supporting. When a reinforce happens, no way. When a unit reinforces another unit, it's sent into that unit's battlefield position and changed it to the defense position. Previous position that the unit is reserved by the reinforcing unit. I hope you're understanding this, because I'm only getting a slight bit of this. It's so much easier to understand the game if you've got it right in front of you. I can't lie. Selling and buying. When a player sells a card, it's sent from whatever zone it was in to the trade center. That player gains a resource equal to that card's resource cost. When a player buys a card, they pay the resources. I've explained that. Okay, we got other mechanics. There we go. Damage. Whenever a player receives damage, they lose that much life. Whenever a unit or structure is dealt damage, that damage counters on it. When a unit or structure has damage counters equaling or in excess of its health and or durability, respectively. Then what? So it just says when a card is but it doesn't actually add what's supposed to be after, does it? I'm not sure. I'm not really able to take much of this in. One card Eat Up grants a unit 3 more health. When resolving that card, players should remove damage counters from that unit. If less than 3 can be removed, place heal counters on that unit equal to the difference. These counters can be consumed to prevent 1 damage each. Other cards that grant max health, and as such aren't required. Okay, so let's just talk about damage and healing. That's cool. I like that. I just not understanding a lot of this because my brain doesn't work. Okay, other mechanics. You got Mulligan, right? So after drawing an opening hand, you can take a Mulligan. Mulligan, I think it's pronounced Mulligan. I'm not sure. It's where you send any number of cards to the bottom of your deck, then draw that many cards, then shuffle your deck. If a player took a Mulligan, each player who didn't take may draw a card. Hand size. If you have more than 7 cards, you must discard until your hand is 7 or less. Searching your deck. Some cards allow you to search your deck for other cards. When you do this, you must shuffle the deck afterwards. Looking at your opponent's deck. If you look through your opponent's deck, you must shuffle it afterwards. If you look at the top 3, for example, you do not need to shuffle. Revealing to show all players. Leveling up champions. When a condition is met, search your battle champion version of that card from either your hand, deck, or discard pile, your choice. Play the new champion on top of the base champion. When a champion levels up, all previous damage and conditions are removed, as well as buffs from the card effects. Items, however, can carry through to the new battle champion, as well as any actions conducted during the turn, such as moving and attacking, are applied to the card. We're going to skip that EG because I don't care for it. Item cards. Placing the card under a unit in a horizontal position, 90 degrees. If a unit is to retreat whilst holding an item, you must pay the resource cost of the item card to bring the item back with the unit. Whilst retreating, if you cannot pay the cost of the item, it gets into the discard pile. Items can only be equipped onto a unit during your turn unless otherwise stated on the card. You can only equip items to your own units unless stated on the card. If units with an attached item card is sent to the trade center to be traded, you can also trade in the item card at the same time. Order cards, we've done that. Environment cards, we've seen. Structure cards, we've defined. Deployment, normal deployment, where you can pay the cost of a unit or structure and play the card directly from your hand onto the field. Range, the range, so this is the range, you can just see the range. Once per turn. Once per turn refers to the effects able to activate only on your turn and not during your opponent's turn. On either player's turn, you may activate the effect on both your opponent's and yours turn. On your opponent's turn, it's just when playing, when your opponent is playing. Units may move one zone in any direction, up, down, left, right, diagonal in any direction. Oh, okay. As long as no other units are occupying the zone, you cannot move onto the opponent's field. Structures cannot move unless specified. That doesn't seem right. I can't say pacificade. I'm just gonna give up. Units can only move on your turn unless stated otherwise by card effect. Defeating a unit when you deal damage to a unit and it reaches zero. Doing this and send it to the discard pile. Being in battle. If a unit has attacked or supported a unit in battle before uniting, they are considered to be in battle and cannot be used for another attack in another lane. Reinforcing a unit. When a unit's health is used to protect a leading unit's health during battle to reinforce, you must have a supporting card from the unit being attacked. The supporting card must be in an attacking position. The action of reinforcing, you may rotate the supporting unit 90 degrees clockwise and place it on top of the unit being attacked. The reinforcing is now acting as a shield and will now be the target of the attack instead of the original target. Figure 1. I assume this is figure 1. Yeah. After damage calculation, if your reinforcing unit is not destroyed, it remains in this position until it's the end phase, where it will return to its in the original position. Whilst it's still in this position, it's still protecting the leading unit. Units that reinforce are considered to have been in battle. Unit positioning. Attack position, when a card is played in a portrait orientation, is allowed to attack. Defending, when a card is on the field in landscape and orientation, cannot attack. Changing battle position. Once per turn you may change the battle position of a unit. However, if you do that, you cannot move the unit in the same turn. Leading unit, the unit that is closest to your opponent's A row. Supporting unit is when a unit is directly behind another unit in the same lane. Deck building rules, 50 to 60, 7 plus 7 hands. There can only be 3 copies of each card in the deck and side deck combined. Within each deck, a total of 4 champion cards are allowed each deck. Each deck, that's missing a full stop. Each deck may only contain a maximum of 7, 7 plus cost units per deck, including champions. Side deck rules, you may have up to 15, 3 copies combined with this deck. You may have champion cards as possible in the side if the main deck conforms to the 4 unit card limit. The total number of cards in the main deck after you swap cards out must be the same as used before you swap. The side deck is to be accessed during the transition period between 2 campaigns. And gameplay you can find in the link here apparently. This is everything else that you need to know. And that's all for today's video. I told you there's going to be a long one soon. It's pretty long for me. 32 minutes. Gonna have to cut that down a lot. If you did enjoy today's video, please like and subscribe. I know there's been some weird moments during this video where I keep like weird sounds in the background, and I'm sorry about that. There's not much I can do about this. It's called life. And yeah, if you did enjoy today's video, like and subscribe. If you want to get into this, look at my videos, see how you can get into Dynasty TCG, check out the social medias, join the Discord, buy some packs, do all that fun stuff, get into it. Get involved. It's new, it's better, it's the greatest. And yeah, that's all for today's video. I'll hope to see you in the next one. Bye.